The only real God is the one that you believe in. Start looking for the God in others. And if you find you're tuning into a wave, well then I don't know much about the insane.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, friends.
Welcome into another episode of Spiritual Philos-O Chatter with the Joneses. I'm Danny Jones.
And I am Samantha Jones.
And here we are, episode 95.
95.
What are we chatting about?
This is animal telepathy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very good.
I love the animal episodes the most.
We get a lot of good responses from those, too.
We do. People love them, yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Well, before we jump into that, anything you want to share from last week?
Yeah, last week we did superpowers, which I loved that episode. Listening back to it, I was like, that was a good one, talking about all that stuff. Got my mind thinking of, okay, well, what do I want to do next? Like, what's the superpower that I want to try and achieve, right? So I decided after seeing a girl on TikTok do it that I was going to try and manipulate fire, like on candles. I saw a girl on TikTok doing it, and I showed it to you, and you know what? I would have put money on the fact that it was real, and it turns out it's not.
Really?
That you can buy candles that start, like have a remote start, that have actual fire. I didn't know this. But she was so convincing, and because I'm sold on the fact that you can do it, I was like, okay, here's my proof, right? And so there was one night that I tried it, but my vibrations weren't really high enough. I was trying to fool myself, but yeah, nothing happened. But, that's something that I was trying to work on. But
yeah, that was a pretty convincing video. But so they're saying it's just like a fueled...
Well, she hasn't come out and said exactly yet, and I haven't been looking through the comments to see what people are saying, but I did see, when I did look in one of them, that somebody said, just look up self-lighting candles. And so that's what I looked up. But she did, in one video, she did say that it was a trick. Like, she addressed that. So she's not trying to lead people to believe that it's real anymore, which she was at first. Because I don't think that a lot of these people realize that these things, you can't do them. Because there were people commenting saying, this is just energy manipulation. Tell me how you're doing this so easy. But she would never say.
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to do it someday. It may take some time.
I think it's possible.
Anything's possible. It's just energy.
But, you know, with today in television and videos and whatever, it's just really hard to tell with a lot of stuff.
It is. I mean, for me, it's like I sat there for a long time and I tried to debunk it. And I watched all of her videos and I was like, man, it just looks so real,
Right.
But I believe it is real.
Yeah.
And I'm not the only one. And
well, maybe not her per se, but that it can be done.
That's why it sucked me in so much, because I truly believe that it can be done. And, I was like, oh, teach me, wise one.
Yeah.
Well, no, never mind.
Never mind.
But, yeah. But that was my excitement for the week, I guess.
Cool.
So, but I'll continue working on that.
Very cool.
So, yeah. Oh, and I wanted to say I did a giveaway for this week. I'm gonna announce that at the end, though. But I had put in our group that I was going to give away a 30-minute reading at the end of this episode. So
awesome.
So stay tuned for that.
That's
we'll
a
get
good
to that.
giveaway.
Yeah.
Very good.
But that's what I have for last week.
Very good. I like it.
Yes.
All right. Are we ready for episode 95?
I am ready.
Animal telepathy.
Let us do it.
All right.
Okay. So last week we talked about human telepathy, and we did talk a little bit about animals, but not much. We talked more on the human level. So today what we're going to talk about is animals and how they communicate with each other with telepathy, as well as with us with telepathy. I've been working on the telepathy with people, and that's really hard. But because animals don't have a wall up, this is their natural language. They're so much easier to communicate with telepathically than we actually understand.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Especially the wall part.
Yeah. People just, we are born with this ability, but we shut it down.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the few different ways that animals do communicate with each other. So first of all, there's verbal communication. And this is like our talking, okay? If you think about it, all animals have some form of verbal something, you know, like birds, they make their sounds, and squirrels,
they make different
make
types
their
of sounds.
Yes.
Even dogs have different types of barks.
Yes, exactly. Just because we don't understand what they're saying doesn't mean that they don't understand what they're saying.
Right.
Their language to each other, their verbal language, could be as intricate as ours is.
Absolutely.
But how were we to know that? Just like they don't know what we're saying to each other, we don't know what they're saying. So we went on a hike last week and came across this squirrel that was doing the most high-pitched, horrible sound.
It was bad.
And he was just going and going and going. And I'm like, what? It was a warning of some kind, but what is he so upset about? You know, but he was so upset. Like when animals communicate, and I try and communicate with them telepathically, if they're that upset, it's kind of hard to, you know, get in, especially when you're a person that they might be afraid of to begin with. But so I have no idea what he was afraid of. I just know there was some fear or something, and he just was going and going and going.
Yeah.
But you know what? His other squirrels, they know what he's saying.
Yeah, because I saw another one by him kind of run in and out of this little cave, rock cave thing, you know.
They know, absolutely. So I think this is where humans think that they're more intelligent than animals are.
And I don't hate that. It bothers me.
Yeah.
Because our assumption.
Yes.
It's just an assumption.
Right.
That we are, I'm not going to say more intelligent, but that we're able to communicate better as humans than they are as animals.
Absolutely.
That's an assumption.
Yeah, absolutely. We have discovered that our dogs like to go in the backyard at night and talk to the other dogs in the neighborhood. And we will let them go back there and bark at their friends. And our neighbors around us probably hate us and are like, shut your dogs up. But they don't understand. They're talking to each other. So why are we going to get in the middle of them talking to each other?
The other neighbors' dogs are barking too.
Yeah.
So that's what they're doing. They're like saying kind of greetings, like hello, good morning, good night. Right.
But the people behind us with the husky, if he gets involved in it, you hear them over there telling him, shh, be quiet. You know, and I mean, sure, we do sometimes with them too, but we just have come to notice that they're just talking to their friends.
Because they do it at particular times.
Yeah.
Like
and
right after they eat, kind of, they'll go out, they do it a little, and then right before we go to sleep, they kind of go out and are like, row, row.
Yeah, and they get upset. Like, Sabbath will go out there and bark for a little while, and if he doesn't hear anybody back, it's like, aw, you know. But then he'll try again, or somebody else will start it, and then he's like, yay, there they are. It's so cute. I wish more people recognize that this is what was going on.
Because you can hear him from far away chiming in.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty funny. I wish I knew what they were saying.
They're probably
like, these stupid humans have us trapped in their homes.
These people are so boring.
We should start our own colony. Oh, yeah. It's probably why we don't know what they're saying.
I think it's just more like, hello, friends.
Probably. So, and another way that all animals communicate with each other is non-verbal cues. Okay, so like a dog wagging their tail, or some people might not know this, but most birds, I guess, especially like parrots and stuff, when they get upset, their eyes will pin, like their pupils get really, really small, and they'll make themselves really big with their feathers. So those are verbal cues. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about that. So all species have those, not just one, not just two. We have a lot of different nonverbal cues that tell us how we're feeling, or tell others how we're feeling.
Or
as
like
humans.
When a dog tucks its tail in, it's much more submissive kind of body language.
Yes, it is. It's more of a nervous. You can tell a lot from dogs' body language. You can tell a lot from all animals' body language if you really pay attention to it, just like with people. And if you know how you and I know each other's nonverbal cues, we also know our dog's nonverbal cues.
Right.
You just learn that.
Right.
You know.
And I definitely believe that with that physical body language, there also is a mental message being sent out.
Yes.
At the same time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So we're just not used to it. Like you said, at a young age, we disconnect from that. We're not used to to the fact that we can connect to both at the same time.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So we don't know what kind of signals the animals are sending us telepathically because we're not open enough to receive them, most of us. Animals, most if not all species, also communicate through smells and like marking territory. So humans are a little bit different in that way, but we all mark our territory.
And humans have evolved.
Yes, absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. So I want to do a reading, but first I need to have some water because I seem to be choking. Okay, so if you've never heard my readings or how I do these, I'm going to look at a picture. I've chosen a few people. I think I have 3 or 4 that I've chosen from our discussion group for people that need readings. And so when I start these, I'm going to look at a picture that the person has provided, and they've given me their pet's name and maybe a description of what's going on, what they would like to talk about.
Sorry about my chair.
Yeah, we need a new chair.
I know.
Yeah. Anyways. Where was I? Okay. So after I do that, then I will connect to the animal. So there's like a brief pause while I connect to the animal, and then things start to come in. What makes this a little bit different than when I do readings like through Messenger or whatever is that I don't have somebody sitting there responding to me. So when I get something from the animal, I have to just go with it instead of explaining it to the person that I'm reading for and them saying, okay, that makes sense because there's no validation for me. So that can sometimes make the readings make a little less sense, but they always fit together. So if I'm doing a reading for you and maybe you're like, well, that makes sense, but in this way, just understand that that's why, because you're not here to validate this for me. So let's see. The first one I am going to do is for Rebecca. And Rebecca says, this is a photo of my darling Lily. She's the one on the right. Her sister Stella is on the left. Excuse me. Stella is semi-feral and won't let anyone touch her. Lily was a very nervous cat, but was extremely close to me. My kids used to laugh and say she was obsessed with me. Lily passed away last month after being attacked by stray dogs. I've been absolutely devastated ever since, and I really need to know she is going to reincarnate and come back to me. We shared a special bond because I found her and Stella in the front yard during a storm when they were around 3 to 4 weeks old.
Wow.
Yeah. So I really felt like, well, she also said she wanted to know, her questions were, did Lily know it was her time? And has she been with me before? Will she come back to me? And Rebecca also mentioned that she had a premonition that this was going to happen, that she felt that. And I think a lot of us have that intuition of something like that, and we push it out of our minds because we don't want to believe that it's possible.
Yeah.
And that's a part of, like, even for me, I still have a hard time with those. But I realize if I feel something like that or I see something, there's a reason and I don't question it, you know, or I try not to. I mean, every once in a while I do.
Right.
But I think one of the reasons why we don't follow those is because they're anticlimactic if nothing happens. And so we figured, well, maybe I was upset for nothing or worried about it for nothing. Well, no, you prevented it. So those are the types of, you know, feelings that makes it difficult when things like this happen. But also something to remember is that when things like this happen, they do happen for a reason, as hard as that is.
Yeah.
So let me talk to Lily. She's on the right. Okay.
So Stella's still living?
Yes.
Okay.
But Stella is a very nervous cat.
Can I see the picture of the kitty?
Yeah, you can, sure.
It's kitties? Cute.
They're cute, yeah. They're very similar. They're gray and white. Very similar markings, like little twins. Okay, so Lily is telling me that, first of all, she too had this feeling that something was going to happen. She was having a sense too. But what happened wasn't what she expected. She, for whatever reason, thought that she was running or going somewhere for another reason. I don't know quite how to explain this, but she was reacting to the feeling that she was having, and she was reacting wrong to it. And so that's what put her in the line with this dog. And that's what happened. And it happened really quickly, she says. Something that I like to point out is that when something like this happens, the animal leaves their body before they die. You aren't going to see that. You're not going to see their soul leave their body, but they don't stick around for that pain. No. So even though their body's reacting to the pain, they're not feeling it. And that is comforting to know. It's hard to imagine that, but that's also the way that it is with people. You know, for most of us, if you choose to feel it, you can. But with animals, they don't want to choose to feel it, so they just go.
Yeah.
When I said that there's reasons why everything happens, this is one of those situations that I'm going to point it out, even though it may not make sense right now. And it's hard when something like this happens to say that it happened for a reason. But the other kitty, Stella, she really needs you, and she needs to come out of her shell, is what I'm hearing. And this is going to allow her to create a stronger bond with you. Now, that's not the only reason why this happened, but this is going to be a beneficial outcome of what has happened. And so when you see that, you'll be like, okay, well, at least we were able to make this bond stronger, and that's come out of it. Also, when you talk about reincarnation, yes, she is going to come back to you. I don't know if you know this, but I do feel that there was something congenital wrong with her. It's something that if she would have, this wouldn't have happened, she would have suffered down the road, and it would have been worse, because I feel like you wouldn't have really known what it was. And so she would have gotten really sick. So these are the things that we don't know when tragedies happen. And, you know, I try and look into them because I think that it's important for people to understand that there are sometimes reasons. Well, there are always reasons.
Yeah, she very well could have realized that, or, you know, intuitively knew that and decided, I'm going to exit real quick this body, and I'll come back to a more healthy
Now, why
body. Choose
such a traumatic way to exit? That's a whole other thing, and I don't know. I don't know why we're given the traumas that we are. I tend to believe that, like, at least for myself, that the traumatic things that I've experienced in my life have happened so I can help other people. So you may come across somebody that has been through the same thing. You may come across a cat that was attacked by a dog and needs a good home. There's sometimes reasons why these things happen. So just keep an eye out for that. Lily wanted me to tell you that she misses playing with you. She's showing me like a ball or something on a string that it was very interactive, and she loved to do that with you. She's was a very intense kitty. She could just sit and kind of look at things, and you know, you'd wonder, what is she looking at? But she knew what she was looking at, even if nobody else did. And she loves you very much, and she's sorry for the trauma that this has caused to everybody. This wasn't her plan to go out like this. This is just how it happened. Yeah. And she is very sorry for the trauma that it has caused. But she will come back to you. She will reincarnate back to you. And when she does, she will be healthier than she would have been in this life. And she'll live longer. Yeah. So, and so, like, let's say that she comes back to you in 2 years, okay? And she would have lived in this life like 3 or 4 more years. You're getting a healthier cat for a longer period of time, if that makes sense. So
you get to be with her longer.
Sometimes when people lose babies, this is why, because they might, you know, have a problem if they're born, and so they're eliminating that problem. That soul's just not ready to come in. That's not the right body. So,
and sometimes it's quite. It doesn't have to be a physical thing. That's It can be just the fact that soul said, I kind of backed out at the last minute, and said, I'm not ready. I'm not, and then they go, okay, well, when you are, you'll come back in a different body. Or
there is a bigger picture.
Yeah.
There's, like, I lost a dog. I talk about her often. Sierra, I lost her to hemangiosarcoma. And there was no reason for her to die. She was 6 years old. Yeah. She had to die because it has helped me help so many people, because I've been through it. And when people talk about it and how traumatic it is to lose a dog like that, I can help them. So we have these reasons why we go through these things, no matter whether we like it or not. It's just the way life goes.
Yeah.
They're learning lessons. So, but she loves you very much, and she will come back to you. And like I said, she will be much healthier next time. So I hope that brings a little bit of closure, because that's a situation I felt needed closure.
Yeah.
Yeah. The tears start now. Yeah. I don't do a lot of like verbal readings because of this. I get all snotty and everything. So,
well, that was good.
Thank you. All right, let me get myself together.
Well, thank you to who was her
That
name?
was Rebecca.
Rebecca, and to Lily.
Lily, yeah. Yep, thank you for letting us do that, and I really hope that helps. So, okay. So now, what I just did kind of was demonstrating telepathy. It's also demonstrating how you can have, how telepathy works with spirits. Because that is pretty much what I'm doing. When I'm connecting to a spirit, I'm connecting to their soul, that's where I'm getting the information from, if that makes sense. So it is telepathy.
It's their conscience, which follows your soul.
Right, exactly. So telepathy is another way that animals communicate. And so what is telepathy? Well, telepathy requires no spoken words or sounds, no physicals. It has no boundaries. This is something that is very hard for people to understand, that I can talk to an animal anywhere in the world. I can talk to an animal anywhere in this universe, whether, obviously if it's somewhere else in the universe, it's the past. But,
right.
But whether it's alive or past, it's still a soul. They're all a soul, and telepathy has no boundaries.
Yep.
And that's another reason why animals can communicate with each other telepathically. Like if you have, maybe like let's say a baby bird or something, and the baby bird is in distress. The mom might feel it and come back to her babies and feel it.
Yeah.
She probably doesn't come back too often to her nest and be like, "Oh my gosh, where's my babies?" Because they have their telepathy and they feel those things.
Right.
So anyway, let's see. Telepathy is a two-way conversation in the form of thoughts, images, words, and feelings. It can be between any species as long as you're open to it. It's not just dog to dog. Dogs can talk to cats, they can talk to birds, they can talk to whatever.
Yeah.
All the animals can talk to each other. We're all born with this ability to communicate telepathically, but only some of us retain the ability. But some can relearn it as well. And, that's not hard. It's not, you just have to put in some patience and study and take some time, and you can get that ability back.
Yeah.
But for most of society, we don't. It's just gone. And that's really sad, because I think if more people knew that how it's not that hard, and that they are using it sometimes without even knowing it.
That's what I was thinking. I think we all, or you don't believe it, or...
Yeah.
Again, this comes off as your own thought.
Exactly.
So everything we think, we hear it in our own voice.
Yeah.
Kind of in a strange way to put it,
Yeah.
So that's where it can get a little bit confusing, but sure. I believe that often we are using our intuition, our telepathy, our communication skills beyond our vocal cords.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So one of the things that I asked our listeners was, well, first of all, do you believe that animal telepathy is a thing, that animals can communicate with each other? I didn't even say with humans. I just said with each other. And only one person out of the whole thing said no.
Huh.
Yeah. So I like that people understand. It's just because we don't see it, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
Right.
They're more intelligent than we give them credit for.
Yeah.
Something else that I thought about this week is people that work with animals that we may not realize are using telepathy with animals, that they may not even realize that they're using telepathy with animals. And one of the ones that we've discussed even prior is Caesar Milan. And Caesar, I read some things that he had to say about his training. And I truly believe that he knows that he is communicating with animals. He talked about how when he goes to a home, right, and there's a dog, and the owner gives him the history, what's going on, what's the story, And then he says, then I give the dog the chance to tell me what the story is.
That's great.
And he says, and I get that from their energy. Now, he never said that he communicates with them in the article that I read. He never says he hears them, he sees pictures. He never said anything like that. All he said was that he can get their energy. And yes, that's a whole other thing, is that when you have these abilities, you have these connections to animals, you can pick up what they're feeling in their vibrations.
Oh, yeah.
So he's doing all of these things, I believe. Absolutely. And so I asked our listeners who else they believed, and if, they thought that maybe that he was one of them. And so in order of the people that they picked that they thought may have had these abilities or just don't talk about him was Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter. Mm-hmm. And I did read on him. And again, it's not, he never, ever said that he did, but you can see it. You can just see it in the way he works with these animals, that he looks at them and the way he's looking at these like crocodiles or whatever he's working with.
He's talking
to them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And his kids probably are doing the same thing. Again, whether they realize it or not, I don't know. I don't know how you cannot.
Yeah, it wouldn't make any sense because if humans did evolve, from not ever speaking and we were some sort of caveman, we were using everything that just in body language.
Right.
And grunts and groans, I doubt it.
Yeah, highly doubt it.
And I think the Egyptian culture is a probably very great example of a practice, a civilization that used this practice a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it was common.
Yeah.
And it was used frequently and it was believed and it was successful. It wasn't questioned.
Right.
And even previous to the Egyptian culture, Atlantis was very much on these levels.
For sure.
The problem is it started getting abused.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Okay, and then Jane Goodall, she works with the chimps. Mm-hmm. She's another one that I could definitely see. I think that teaching sign language to chimps, it helped her to have those abilities, and she probably picked up a lot more from them. And then they said Caesar Milan, number 3, and then Jack Hanna.
Yep.
And Jack Hanna was my idol when I was young. Like, I wanted to be Jack Hanna. And now I look at him and he's just a goofy animal guy.
Yeah.
I don't know that he communicates with these animals, baby. He's so stressed about them all the time that I don't know. I met him when I was like 20 years old and he's a nice guy, but I don't know. On the list, he's probably the least likely, I think.
Here's one for you. What about like the Tiger King or any one of those kind of guys that were owning those kind of animals?
No, they could never.
No, because he seemed like just totally a train wreck.
If you knew how animals feel, you could not treat them like that. There's no way. I was gonna put Carol Baskin on that list, but I don't know even with her if she really gets it because she seems kind of spacey.
Yeah. So
I'm not sure. There is something that I came across last week that I told you a little bit about that I was just dumbfounded about this. My friend Christina shared a post from this girl. She runs Danielle's Reptile Relocation, and that's somewhere in the desert, Landers area of California, which is like the desert.
An earthquake there in the 80s or 90s?
94, I believe, somewhere around there. But it's desert. And so she rescues reptiles and stuff. She posts a picture of it's like 3 or 4 rattlesnakes kind of like cuddling together almost. And she's like, these are my pet rattlers. And I was so enthralled by this that I had to search and I had to know more. And she hangs out with rattlesnakes. And my mind is blown because not that you can't do it, but oh my God, that is so cool. Because really, like, they're just like anything else. Like, if you go into the wild and there's a cougar there and you're threatening it, it's going to come after you. Mm-hmm. But if you leave it alone, it's going to leave you alone.
Right.
It's still a wild animal. But if you have snakes that are like, they're around people more or whatever and they learn to trust them, there's no reason why this isn't possible. I'm not going to try it because you lose that for 1 second and they might feel it and then you're done for,
Yeah.
But I was so impressed by this that,
Wasn't there a picture of one on her lap?
Yeah, she was sitting there like watching TV with the rattlesnake on her lap, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like this. I watched the videos of like Seguru with the cobras and stuff, but that's a cobra. You can see, I love that. You can kind of see the snakes just like hypnotized by them.
I just hope she has some anti-venom handy in case playtime goes wrong.
Or, she rescues them. So, just getting bit by one randomly. But I've seen, I follow a girl on TikTok that she's a beekeeper and she handles bees with no gloves because she handles them so gently. She's like, I don't need it. They know I'm not going to hurt them.
Right.
It's possible. It's just like mind over matter, really, is what it is. Believing this animal isn't going to hurt me.
Right.
But you let your guard down, or you go into the wrong hive or around the wrong snake, and you're taking your life risk.
Well, I was watching some show on Discovery where these guys that go get this, I don't know if it was Discovery, maybe it was Vice Channel, but these guys that go get this hallucinogenic honey.
Oh, yeah?
And they're like in this jungle somewhere in South America or something, I don't know. And they hang off cliffs from these handmade bamboo ropes that they make.
Uh-huh.
And then they have this team of these 2 American guys, I think they're American, that are joining this expedition. And they have full-on bee suits. They're trying to do all this climbing with their gear,
wow.
the kind of gear that, they would climb rocks with.
Sure.
And these guys are using handmade bamboo ropes that are super long that they've made themselves, and they're like ladders and ropes, and the guy climbs up there with no suit or nothing, and I think they might use some smoke out to get him a little bit out
moving,
but he's grabbing the whole thing hanging off the side of the cliff, and
wow.
the honey comb and ripping it off with his hand, and he's getting stung.
Yeah. This lady doesn't. I mean, some bees don't have stingers. Like, we came across some black, they weren't bumblebees, but they looked like regular honeybees, but they were like black and
darker,
gray.
yeah.
Yeah. And they didn't sting. And there was like swarms of them. It was cool to stand in the middle of them.
In the middle of them. That was neat.
Yeah. But these weren't those. And so, it impresses me when people just know their skill enough. Like, some people look at me like that with dogs. They're like, how can you just go up to a dog you don't know and put your face in their face? Because I just know the dog's not going to hurt me.
Right.
If I have an instance where I think that they might, I'm not going to do that. But I'm in tune with them enough to know the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, you are.
Yeah. Which brings up the topic of Dr. Dolittle. Remember that movie?
Yeah, with Eddie Murphy?
Yeah, well, yeah, but it goes way back. So Dr. Dolittle actually was a children's book in 1920. It was written by Hugh Lofting, and it was a story about a physician who shuns human patients in favor of animals with whom he can speak to in their own language, is the description.
Right.
And then they did more with it. But there's a new movie, Doolittle. I think it's with what's his name? Iron Man. Why is my mind? What's his name?
Robert Downey Jr.?
Yes, thank you very much. I think he's Doolittle. And so it's after this story. I haven't seen it. It looked kind of corny when I saw the previews of it.
Yeah.
So I just kind of let it be. But, it might be interesting to watch and see what it's about. But it's supposed to be about this, the talking to the animals. Now, when you talk to an animal, it's not like that. It's not like having a full-on conversation with them. You get pictures or words or, maybe a short sentence of like 3 or 4 words, but it's not like us having a conversation. And that's how they usually portray this, is that he can hear everything and, is actually verbally hearing them. And that's just not what it is.
Yeah.
That's not it at all. No. But I think it is cool that they talk about it and that they, have done these movies and, again, science fiction becoming science fact. But there's a lot of people you couldn't convince that it's science fact that think it's science fiction.
Right.
Yeah. I want to do another reading.
And maybe it's not so much becoming, it always was. We just have to relearn some things.
Exactly. I just opened my phone to do another reading, and it's 222.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
Isn't that weird?
Isn't that weird? Let's see. This is for Melissa Helm. She says, this is Coco. She was diagnosed with cancer in December. I would like to know if she wants to keep fighting, and will she let me know when it's time? I am also curious if my cat that I lost last year is visiting her, because all of a sudden she wants to go outside. She just goes out for a minute and then wants back in. Okay, so let's talk to Coco. This is Coco. She's a little tortie.
Oh, my favorite.
I know. You love the torties.
We have one.
Yes, we do. And she's a very sweet cat.
Torties are. They're very affectionate.
Yeah. Yeah, she's one of those that if you stop petting her, she chases you and bites your foot. Yeah, she likes my feet. Okay, so let's talk about Coco, though. Okay. So
I thought you were talking about Coco. I was like,
right?
Coco chases your feet?
No. Serena.
Yeah.
Okay, so she was diagnosed with cancer in December. Okay. So I feel like she knows that there's something not right. She doesn't know what it is, so I've now told her and I've explained this to her, and she understood that what was happening as far as like that she's, going to pass on, that this is, terminal. And she's okay with that. She just didn't know what it was. So I've explained that to her a little bit now, which might help you with her, like, I feel some, like, depression and sadness from her. And this is also lethargy, but I think not knowing what was going on was really affecting her. And so now you might see a change in her personality a little bit because of that. She wants to be comfortable, and she will tell you when it's time to go. But she doesn't want, like, if you're planning to do chemo or anything like that, I've explained to her that, I don't know the situation. We haven't talked, but I'd be happy to talk with you more and get more specific. But I've explained to her that with cancer, there's different routes, and she says that she doesn't want any of those routes. That she just wants to live out the rest of her life. If there are things you can do, to help her pain level, that's good. But when you start to see things like she doesn't want to eat, and she sleeps 23 of the 24 hours a day, and she's not really responding to you, these are things she's telling me to look for. When she's not really responding to you when you're calling for her, these are all signs that she's going to give you that she's ready. And so when you notice these, it's time to put her down.
Yeah.
I feel like it's on the horizon, to be very honest. This is advanced for her, but it's okay. It hurts and it sucks to lose an animal, and it sucks to the death just sucks.
Right.
But she's not scared, so she doesn't want you to be scared, and she doesn't want you to worry about where she is going. And yes, your other cat, let's see, did you give me the name of the other cat? No, but the other cat I do see waiting there for her.
That's cool.
Yeah. So she is visited by this cat a lot, but already was. This isn't something new. It's just that this is kind of calming her fears on where she is going, because she sees her more and more. She sees this other cat more and more now. So
and I felt like, if she's really open to it, she'll come back to her.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If she wants her back, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, and she will. She will come back to you, too. Both of these cats that we're talking about. And most
likely not the same situation.
No, definitely
They'll
not.
make sure, I think, I can't say that for sure, but I have a feeling if you've experienced one situation with them, you won't experience the same situation with them.
Me too. I've always been very hopeful of that, too, and you won't go through the same thing. So, I think you're right on that. So, but she will definitely come back to you. She's a very, very loving kitty still. She really enjoys affection, which I think is common in torties. They do love the affection.
Yeah.
She's just very gentle. She is older, and so I can feel from her that this is just her time.
Yeah. And
she's lived a long, happy life. You've given her everything that she could have dreamed for, but it's just come to that point where the body is just, it's done. It's worn out, and she needs a new one. You know, that's how it goes. Is you use this one, and then you have to get a new one. But in the meantime, you got to go to the other side, and you got to, you know, for animals, do what the animals do, and wait for your new body. Yep. And then when your new body's ready, you come in. Yep. And that's the cycle. Mm-hmm. So she will be back for that's sure. Good. Yeah. So, but yeah, let's talk. And we, you know, if you have any questions about it, and we can talk deeper on this. But yeah, I'm just saying from what she's telling me, just no life-saving measures, just comfort care.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah, and she was telling me that she would like some wet food. She's telling me that her smeller is going a little bit, and so food isn't as appetizing, so something stronger. I don't know if you give her tuna or anything like that, but if you don't, maybe try that. I don't know how much stronger it gets than that, but that might help increase her appetite, especially if you start to notice it getting worse. Some of that does have to do with the fact that she's just not smelling things like she used to.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure where this cancer is. It feels like it might be a few different places, but I do get pain in the mouth. And so I think that's another reason why she's asking for the soft food, is that this will help whatever pain she has in her mouth. So Coco. So.
That's cool.
Yeah. So hopefully that will.
Just to like get into your mind and process, maybe for the audience, you know, to understand, how do you explain to an animal that they have an illness that's going to end their life? How do you do that?
Well, I don't really put it to them that way. I usually ask them if they feel sick, like if they can tell that there's something wrong with them. And then I explain to them that, you know, briefly with pictures, that this is the process. If they don't already know, this is the process. Just like I just explained, this is the temporary meat suit, and that the meat suit is worn out. And it's time to exchange it for another one, and to go hang out with your spirit friends on the other side.
Right.
So I don't describe it as anything negative.
Right.
Animals don't look at it the way that we do. They're not like fearing that change. Really, if you think about it, if you have an old animal that their body is just done, why not let them change it in for another one? I know that sounds weird, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just not, we don't want to sit in the uncomfortable body, you know, so why let them sit in it? So, but when I explain it to them, it doesn't bother them the way it does people. They seem to know for the most part. A lot of times they just want the clarification because they might pick up things from the owner intuitively, but they may not understand. They don't speak our language. And so when they know, what are they going to be put through? What exactly is it that's going on? That helps too. So another way that I could help Coco is by knowing if they're going to do more tests, if they're going to do anything else like that, then I can prepare her for, you know, what's possibly to come. And that helps with these animals as well. So,
well, because I find it fascinating, you know, the process of the telepathy itself and how that's actually occurring.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're talking to a species that you don't have a vocabulary with, explaining something that's rather complicated.
Right.
Maybe.
Exactly.
Maybe not. I mean, it's as simple as like you're going to be living, and then at some point you're not going to be living.
Right.
You'll be on the other side. I get it that they have a greater understanding of this and connection to the other side.
Yeah.
Than we do. Most of us do. However, I thought maybe for, you know, these owners of these fur babies and the audience in general, like, for them to sit and to connect with their animal, what is that process? Like, even if you can't hear them back, you can still share with them your feelings and your thoughts. So when you say, I take them through this with pictures of the process. So when you're showing the cat, I forgot the cat's name. Coco. When you're showing these pictures and the process, what are you showing?
Right. Well, my process is probably very different than what I would suggest to somebody that doesn't have the abilities or built the abilities. So actually, the next part that I was going to go into is how to do this. So we can go into that, and I can explain. I think my process is probably too difficult, because I want to get the little bitty things, and so I send them more detailed information. But for somebody that's, never done this before, they probably want to make it as simple as possible. They don't want to get too confusing, because if, you might not know, I don't know how to explain this. If you're not confident and you're just sending bits and pieces, you may not know what's going through and what's not going through. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So simple is better.
Right.
Simple is much better. But in my How to Learn to Speak to Animals Telepathically, one of the very first thing, and I always say this, is you have to meditate and get down to that level where your vibrations are high and you're not doubting yourself. Because if you have any doubt, you're not even going to be able to get those messages out. Like if you're sitting there thinking, well, this isn't real, but hey Sabbath, listen to this one. You know what I mean?
Right.
You have to believe. You have to believe that they are hearing you.
Well, it's funny because Sabbath did it with me yesterday.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm always sort of after the fact it dawns on me. Because he was sitting there, we give them each the same kind of bone, and they chew it for 5 minutes, and then they bark at each other. Because they want to trade. And then we'll trade it, and they bark, they chew for another 5 minutes, and then they bark again.
Yeah.
And it's this constant trade. Well, Sabbath, I walked by, and Zuma was laying with his sort of unrolled. It's kind of a rawhide roll. But it was sort of, he got it unrolled.
Yeah.
And it was a wavy sheet.
Yeah.
Kind of. And so I walked by, and Sabbath's staring at his like he does, with his sitting right in front of him all rolled up.
Yeah.
And I just heard unroll it.
Yeah. Yeah.
As I walked
you
by.
Heard good.
And then I stopped and went, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That was him telling me. I didn't just make a guess.
Yeah.
I said, unroll it, because then I'll eat the one that's in front of me.
Right.
I'm staring at the other one because it's unrolled.
Right.
And as soon as I did, boom.
Yep.
It was like he stopped staring and barking.
Yes.
For another 10 minutes. Maybe.
You hit the nail right. Yeah. Until he was done with it. Yeah. You hit the nail on the head with that one. And he's getting better with his communicating, because he wasn't taught to communicate with us from a young puppy like Zuma was. So he's had to kind of learn how to communicate with us as well. And he's doing much better with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, he definitely sends those things out. Now, let me point this out to you, that just because I can do this does not mean that I have two well-trained dogs. Okay, I can talk to them just like a trainer or a child or whatever, and they don't listen to me just because I can talk to them telepathically.
Yeah, it's kind of like your own kids. Sometimes they're defiant.
They don't care because I'm the mom and they're the child. So sometimes they listen, but sometimes they don't. But just because I can do this doesn't mean that I can change these kind of problems without actually having to have a trainer come in and do it. Really, that's what I need, to have a trainer come in and deal with their issues. I can't do that with my abilities. I wish I could, but that's not my thing. I'm not a dog trainer.
Right.
So if I was, I could, but I'm not. So don't think that just because, I have these abilities or you have these abilities that it means that you're supposed to have perfect animals, because that's not how it works. You don't have perfect children. You're not going to have perfect animals. So anyways, let's go back to the meditating. It's really, like I said, about raising your vibrations. If you don't want to sit and meditate, if this doesn't work for you, I can tell you, if you're a music person, just put some headphones in and listen to some positive music.
Yeah.
And that will raise your vibrations. Laughing raises your vibrations. Anything that makes you feel good and up raises your vibrations. And that helps you to believe and to connect better. Yes. And that's the first step.
Yeah, go stand in the backyard in the sun for a minute.
Yeah. For sure.
That's what it is.
Anything that makes you feel better, that makes you raise your vibrations. But the meditation is probably one of the fastest, easiest ways. Now, so let's say that you've done this. You're relaxed. You're ready to go. What do you do now to try and communicate with your dog for the first time? So try this. So say your pet's name telepathically. So think about them. So sit with your eyes closed and think about your dog. So I'm going to think about Sabbath here. And I'm going to say his name in my head. and he's not looking at me. But even if I said his name out loud, because I did 3 or 4 times, he's not looking at me. But if you work on this, if this is how you try and work on it when, you know, your animals are around or whatever, the point is to get them to look up at you without you actually saying their name. Mm-hmm. So this is a good way to practice.
Yep.
And you can't, you know, in your head, you don't want to sit there and be like, Taba, listen to me. I'm talking to you. Nothing like that. Right. You want to send pictures of them, like loving pictures to them, or focus on them, think about them. You know, anything loving, that's what's going to get their attention more. It's going to get the message out clearer. Yeah. So this is a good way to practice it. When I remember the first time that I did a reading for somebody to practice. I was like, I don't know, 19 or 20 years old. And I did the meditation because I got these cassette tapes, and the animal communicator that put them together walked you through a short meditation. Mm-hmm. I did the meditation, and I just started writing down everything that the dog was telling me, everything that I was seeing. If I was wrong, I was wrong. It didn't matter at that point. I thought there's no way I'm right, so I'm just going to go with what I feel. And I was working for the SPCA at the time, and it was one of the director's dogs. And I told her, I remember something about the dog had to sleep in a crate at night at the foot of the bed, and the dog didn't like that. And she was blown away. She was like, that is exactly what's going on. And I thought she was lying to me. I thought she was trying to make me feel good.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. But see, if you just really just listen and don't be afraid that you're going to be wrong, because you're not going to be right without practicing. You have to practice. And sometimes in practicing, it means you're going to be wrong.
Yep.
You know, and that's okay. I'm not always right. Mm-hmm. You know, that's something about psychics that people may not know. I don't know it all, and I'm not always right. And, you know, sometimes I might think I'm making a prediction about something, and I might not be. It might be my logical brain. So it's not clear, you know, like crystal clear. There's a, you know,
you have to decipher
exactly. Yeah. So you have to believe in that.
I agree.
So when you start to practice it, it's probably good to practice with somebody's animals that you feel comfortable with. I would help anybody if you want to start to learn how to do this, and you want me to like send you a picture of one of our animals. I will be happy to let you know, if what you're getting is correct, or work with you in any way like that you'd like, because you need that safe place to do that. Because how else are you going to know that you're right? You know,
right.
I mean, you knew with Sabbath when you picked up that bone and unrolled it. Okay, because that he went to it, he started enjoying it. But you're not always going to get that kind of validation, especially if it's an animal that's crossed over, or if there's something that you might think is like physically wrong. If you're feeling like, okay, well, I feel like there's something physically wrong with my animal, but I can't like show that there's something wrong. You have to still go with that until you can prove otherwise. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like because those are the things you don't know you can't like filter what's coming in,
right.
And you'll learn that. You just, I think I went off on a tangent there.
No, that's totally cool.
But yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's see. How much time do we have left?
About 7 minutes.
Okay, I want to do one more reading, and then I need to announce the reading winner, and then if we have a minute, I want to talk about one other thing, but I want to get the last reading in for sure. Okay, so this is for Sheila. She said, this is a rescue. Lucy is a rescue. This is a little dog. Kind of looks like your parents' dog.
Oh, okay.
And that's fine. Same name, Lucy.
Yeah.
Funny. She may have been called Skittles by her previous family. She is very loving, but when my husband tries to put a leash on her to walk, she acts strange. She lays at the door, won't go with him. We're trying to figure out why and what would make it easier for him to take her on walks. I like helping with these problems because these are usually easily fixed. You want to see the picture?
Cute.
Yeah. These are usually easily fixed problems, and I do feel like she has baggage from the previous family. Nothing like really bad. Like she wasn't abused or anything. It's just that what I'm feeling is male influences in her life were not about her. They did not care about her. So she's kind of learned that this rough and tough kind of persona is not
she doesn't like it.
Right. She doesn't like it. When they go on the walks, He needs to pay more attention to her. I don't know if he's on his phone or what he's doing. I'm going to get him in trouble now.
Right.
But there's something that he's doing on these walks that she doesn't like. And if maybe it's rushing, that could be another thing. Dogs like to take their time, and as frustrating as that may be for us because we want to rush the walk. I do it with Sabbath too. Right. I'm like, you've been stuck in the same spot for 5 minutes. That's what they live for. They live to get outside and smell things. So give her time. Yeah. That's another thing. Let her sniff. Don't, pull her along. Yeah. Realize that this is a small dog, that any kind of movement with our big arms, it's jolting.
Look at her legs. They're tiny compared to the stride that we take.
Right. She's very, very sensitive and delicate, and you as a woman are much more sensitive and delicate with her, and she likes that, and so that's why she likes it when you take her for the walks. There might also be a child here involved that she likes as well. I'm feeling a strong child, but this could be from the other place too, but a child that she admires and likes to hang out with, that she feels comfortable with. This was showing me a comfort with this child. So it's not your husband.
She's got daddy issues.
She's got daddy issues. I do too. I understand. But so yeah, a few ways to deal with this is just for him to be more sensitive. Take some treats, whatever her favorite treats are, and along the way, make a big deal out of her. Oh, Lucy's such a good girl. Such a good girl. Give her a treat.
Doubt her on her.
Yeah. He's not going to speak her language, so I'm not going to tell you to tell him to send her pictures or messages that it's going to be fine. He's going to do better with her, with the treats and the loving tone and the calm walks and the patience. Those are the things that are going to capture her. Just like a person, they don't want to go out with somebody that's rushing them or making them feel anxious. So she would rather go out with you than with him. So, sorry, I got the husband in trouble a little bit, maybe. I apologize.
Well, you also give him the answers to get him out of trouble.
Yeah, and he probably knows the answers, to be really honest. He probably realizes that, he could slow down and do some things. But it's hard, when you're out there and you're like, oh, I just want to get this done, or maybe you have like a work call coming in or whatever, and you're on your phone and you're not paying attention. And I'm guilty of that. Not anymore, but when I was a pet sitter, I would walk dogs and be on my phone at the same time, but that was my job, and it was just kind of like, whatever, I love these dogs, but they're not mine. The owners will pay more specific attention. But I realized that owners do this too, and the dogs are like, hey, this is kind of my time. This is our time. Yeah. So making that her time and their time, I think will help. Maybe even tell him to leave his phone at home. Yeah. Those things. So
Sabbath will sit there and whine at me if I'm on mine.
Will he?
Too long.
Oh, yeah.
Pay attention to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Swat you,
Oh, yeah. He will do that. Yeah. On walks, I need to pay attention to everything that's going on, so I don't do that. But yeah, he definitely likes to show his attention. We got our great date is just, he wants to be a part of the animal show today. He's like pacing back and forth between his beds, and how dogs do they want to make the perfect comfortable bed,
so they do 30 circles.
There he goes with his if you didn't hear it. So I hope that helps with Lucy, and if you'd like to talk more about it, let me know.
Cool.
So
thank you.
Yeah, those were good. There's one other thing I want to talk about briefly because I'm enthralled by this. And this isn't animal telepathy, but it goes in the line of teaching animals how to communicate with people. It's a whole different way of doing this. And we've talked about it briefly. It's teaching dogs to talk with buttons. And you can look up, Fluent Pet is the first company that started this. Fluent.pet is the website. And this lady, she has a dog named Bunny. Her name is Christina Hunger, and she is a speech language pathologist, and she has taught her dog how to speak using pre-programmed buttons with words on them. And we did this for 1 second with Zuma. And then I went, this isn't a good idea.
No.
Because it is a good idea, but it's not. I'm okay. I can talk to them telepathically. That's plenty. This gives them the freedom to talk to you like a child. It's really cool, but anything that they want, they go over to those buttons and are like, Mom, 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 Mom. And the last thing I need is my dog being able to push a button that goes, Mom, Mom, Mom. But it's awesome because, the people are teaching dogs how to talk this way.
It's just proof that they can communicate.
So the way that this lady has set her buttons up is she has a board, and the board is divided into 6 sections: who, what, where, actions, like what is being done, social words like greetings and manners, and then descriptive words like adjectives and adverbs. And so this dog can say things like, Bunny, go outside, or Daddy, Bunny outside, when she wants the dad to take. Right. She loves her dad. Where's dad? That's another. She asks all these things.
That's cool.
The one that caught my attention the most, besides a cat that was sitting there going, Mom, 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 with her buttons, was a dog named Flambeau. And you can find Flambeau on TikTok and those Flambeau the dog, Flambo. Now, Flambeau, the reason he caught my attention is because he asked for water for the other dog. And this was the first video of his that I saw. So the other dog, Espion, he said he went to the Espion button and he pushed that one. And then he went to the want button, pushed that, and then he pushed water.
Wow.
Okay?
Incredible.
The owner thought that the water bowl was full. She went over, saw it was empty, filled it back up, and Espion came right over and started drinking the water. And I was like,
incredible.
Whoa. It's so amazing. Cool. It's so cool. So I definitely would recommend, if this is something that you're interested in and looking into, it's so cool. It definitely gives us a stronger bond with our animals, but I'm going to sit this one out because I don't need any more obsessive behaviors from our dogs. Watching some of the cat videos of them doing this, pushing the food, hungry. It's like, stop, that's not what it's for. But cats just do what they want, and the dogs get going too. So yeah. But look it up. It's really, really cool. Definitely a different way to communicate with animals.
The cats definitely seemed a little more relentless on them.
Yeah, they are. They are, for sure. But the dogs, they ask for what they want when they want to go outside, or, it's a great way for them to alert you when they need to go outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
incredible.
So that's animal telepathy. I mean, I could go on for hours about this subject, but if you're interested in learning how to do this, I'm always happy to help. I do mentor, so you can message me or, Google famous animal communicators. There's a lot of them. Penelope Smith, I believe, is her name, one of the most famous ones, and she put a whole course together on how to do this because it does take a while. It's practice, just like anything else, you know.
I agree.
Yeah.
And believing.
Yes.
And being open to it and believing.
Yes.
Because like I said, I just thought of it with Sabbath and walked by. Then I realized, no, that was him talking to me.
Yeah, exactly. These two have become very good at telling us what they want telepathically. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, prepared to be ordered around by your animals too, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, it's, I'm very, very thankful and blessed to have this ability. I'm very thankful.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and I think it proves that they are much more intelligent than we give them credit for.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
That was a good episode.
Yay!
That was very good. Thank you. Very good. We hope you guys got something out of it.
I could talk about animals all day, every day.
And yeah, like I said, these are good. They're always popular with, the listeners.
Yes. I got to give I almost forgot.
Oh, yeah, you almost forgot your giveaway.
Yay. I almost forgot. Okay, where am I? I haven't closed my notebook. And see, I have it written really big right here, and I'm still Okay, so the giveaway reading goes to Hannah McMichael.
All right.
Yay, Hannah. Thank you so much. I will contact you, and we will get your reading done. And thank you for joining the group. When I asked them to submit why they wanted to have a reading, I asked them to join the discussion group. So now these people are a member of our discussion group, so welcome.
Very cool.
Yeah, thank you for joining.
Welcome and thank you.
Yep. So there we go.
Awesome. Well, before we say goodbye to all our friends, would you like to share your page?
Yes. You can find my website at SamanthaJonesPsychicMedium.com. If you want to contact us, you can find our information there as well, but you can email us at spiritualjoneses@gmail.com. Send your show ideas or comments, questions, whatever. We love it.
Yep. Please.
Yep.
Please do.
Yeah, we love it. And you, sir?
Yes, for my art, djonesartcollection.com for the web, at djonesartcollection for Instagram and Facebook. And for the music, gypsybrown.com for the web, at gypsybrownmusic for Instagram, and at gypsybrownband for Facebook.
Yay.
And that's it for me.
And if you haven't heard, Zuma would like to say goodbye to you with his snoring.
Yeah.
he says you can
closer.
find him, actually. Zuma the Chocolate Great Dane.
Yeah.
Right? He's got his own page, too.
On Facebook.
He's speaking up here with his snoring, like always. We're animal people. What can we say? They're in the studio with us.
They're studio doggies.
Yeah, they are.
Well, we, again, hope everybody got something out of this.
That we do.
And we also hope everybody had a very good Valentine's Day.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
And so, but until next week, we hope you guys have a great week. But until next week, peace and love.